Okay, this is going to be one of the more serious videos. As a lot of you know that watch my videos, I quit smoking weed about 50 days ago now, I think it is. And people told me that, when you try to get things together, a lot of stumbling blocks get thrown in your way. And over the last 3 weeks, one of my relatives' children was almost kidnapped and molested, and now my godmother, who I love to death, is barely alive. She has emphysema, and she is barely able to breathe. She can barely talk. It's horrible. It's horrible to see. But what I realized when I got to the hospital today was that if I had not quit, and this is, once again, I always do this, this is not attacking weed, this is not attacking alcohol. This is attacking what weed and alcohol allows you to do for some people. Had I not quit smoking, let's put it this way, once before my godmother, the same godmother, was in this position, and I did not go to see her in the hospital, and I did not contact her, and I did not call her, I did nothing, because I felt horrible that she was sick, but I think part of me really didn't care, because I wanted to stay in the house and get high, and play video games, and do things that really meant nothing. And when she got sick and my mom called me last night and told me how sick she was, I did have a slight urge to smoke. But I, for some reason, immediately contacted my godmother's daughter and told her that I was sorry to hear what was going on, and got very emotional with that, and asked her if it would be okay if I came out to see her today. And I did go out to see her, and it was horrible. It wasn't horrible that I got to see her. I'm grateful to God that I had the opportunity to see her. Evidently last night she couldn't even speak. She was able to speak to me for 3 or 4 minutes before she had to rest. So I'm grateful for that, even though it was hard. I ended up crying, which I felt horrible about because I didn't want to upset her. And I don't know if I did, because unfortunately for the rest of the day she really wasn't able to see anybody else. I'm not walking around feeling guilty about it because I didn't do it intentionally. And she told me she was glad to see me and that she loved me, and I got to tell her that I loved her. So I at least got to say the things that a lot of people don't get the chance to say before somebody dies. I don't know that she's going to die. I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm hopeful, I'm prayerful, but she at this point I think is ready to go. She has a do not resuscitate order. She's suffering. But the whole point of this video, I'm sorry for that, but I'll leave it in because maybe it'll help someone somehow, is that in the past I would have avoided this because of how hard these feelings are to deal with. And even though I'm sad, and even though it's depressing, and even though it's horrible to see someone you love suffer, it's worth dealing with all that pain to know that I was there. I got to reconnect with a lot of her friends and her daughter and her husband that I had not spoken to in many, many years. They were very open to me, which I was worried about because I didn't know if maybe they would be mad at me for having not been around for so long. But they weren't. They were very loving. I was worried that me crying would be too upsetting to them, but didn't seem to bother them that I was showing my emotions. There was a lot of good things that I got out of it, and I hope that they were happy to have me there. I hope that I was able to bring them some laughter or something, even if, whatever. I don't even know if I got the point here. The point here was basically, if you're using drugs to hide from things, you're going to regret the things you hid from more than you know. I am 38, my niece and nephew are 11 and 9, I think, or 12 and 10, or 11 and 8, or something like that. And I'm sorry, I don't know their exact ages. But I've missed everything in their life. I didn't go to my niece's first communion. I haven't gone to any of their baseball games, or lacrosse games, or soccer games, or football games, or anything else. I've barely been there for their birthdays, because when I went, all I was thinking about was hurrying up and getting back home and smoking weed and doing what I wanted to do. And I regret it. I don't regret it, excuse me, I'm sorry, the camera's wandering. I don't regret it in a way where I'm beating myself up because I know I can correct it. Luckily I had the time with my niece and nephew to correct it, but I almost missed out. I almost lost someone I love because of wanting to stick my head in the sand and hide from my emotions. So if you use weed and you're able to function and do what you need to do, this is not directed at you. But if you are using weed to hide from painful things, you will regret it one day. And I would rather tell you that and have you say, that's not true and you don't know what you're talking about. Fine, tell me that. I don't really care if you agree with me or not. But I just hope one day you don't look back at this video and realize I was right, because the feeling of knowing you weren't there for someone that was dying is not worth, it's not worth it. I'll stop here.